Hey guys, Mr. Wimp here. We're going to talk about perspective sketches now. We've done isometric and oblique, and basically we have perspective sketches now. And in order to start a perspective sketch, we have to have our horizon line. Okay, and the horizon is basically a focal point of where our sketch is going to go off to. And so what we like to do is create just a point over there. And basically, with a perspective is a type of drawing where, when you look at it, it's actually looks like it's going away from you. So as something gets further away, it gets smaller and smaller. And so that's what we're actually going to draw here. So this focal point is where things are going to go. So we're going to do a 1 point. So a 1 point perspective. Okay, so a 1 point perspective, let me clean that up a little bit because it's a little bit messy. Let's make a new one just so it looks nice. A 1 point perspective has one focal point over here, and then a 2 point would have two different focal points. So we'll start with a 1 point and then we'll move down and we'll make a new one. So let's do a basic block. And the thing with a 1 point perspective is these are usually oblique drawings. Okay, so an oblique drawing, if you remember, shows the front as face on. So front is face on. Okay, so let's draw one of the common shapes that we've kind of done in the past, and that's sort of like our basic block that has looked like this guy here. Basically, you have a little piece sticking down, and then it kind of comes out and looks like one of those. So we're going to draw that, but in a perspective, and that's a pretty messy view, but I don't have everything. So to start with the perspective, we always kind of start with our face view. So we've got this square here, and because I know where that is, I can go ahead and make it a nice heavy object line. Okay, and then I know from here basically every corner. So in an oblique drawing, I would draw everything back at a 45-degree angle. The difference here is instead of a 45-degree angle, it's going to go all the way back to my focal point. Okay, so all these corners are going to go meet at this focal point. Hopefully your lines are a little bit straighter. But basically what this tells me is that this piece drops in, and it's going to follow this little path right here, and right there, and right there. So as it gets further away, things start to get a little bit smaller. And then my front view still looks like this. This one still comes out, still goes up, still comes over, still goes up, and still comes out like that. But now again, we've got new corners that go off into our focal point. So that tells me that now we've got a match up here, like so. We've got to follow this guy down like that, and then this comes out, touches my line, and comes down, and they meet up. So basically every line that drops back in a thickness has some sort of a depth that's going to go to my single vanishing point. Okay, so then I come in and I fill in my object lines here. Now you're going to have so many construction lines that you may actually want to come and go over the top of this in pen just to make it nice and heavy and dark. And then the point is you don't necessarily need to erase anything. So that's a 1 point perspective. And 2 point is very similar, but 2 point you're actually going to be drawing in isometric drawings. So let's scroll down a little bit here, and we'll create a 2 point perspective. Whoops. Drawing. Spelling got a little off there. So 2 point perspective, again, we have our horizon line. We have 1 point clear over here, 1 point clear over here, so that now I have two focal points. And if I draw that same block, basically it's gonna everything extends out. So we're gonna draw a nice simple one just so you can see how this would work. We're just gonna draw kind of this L-shaped block that looks something like this. Okay, so that's what we're going to make, and we have our 2 vanishing points. So we'll start out with a single line. All right, that single line is this corner right there. And now I know that at some point that line's going to disappear off to this focal point. I know that it's going to disappear off to this focal point. And I know that at some point, so now this becomes the front, which is right here. Okay, so I know that it's about this thick. So all of my vertical lines on a 2-point perspective are straight up and down. So vertical lines, you'll have to forgive my spelling, stay straight. Okay, so they stay straight. Man, I think I may have spelled that pretty bad, but you get the point. They stay straight. So this is the front here. So I know that. Now from this corner, we have a new vanishing line that'll vanish off to that focal point. And so here's the beginnings of my L. And so I know that this piece kind of comes in like this. Maybe the back of it is right here. So that's this line right there. So that's the back. I know that it goes up taller than the original pieces. We have this kind of L shape. Okay? So basically what happens is we're going to take this, and I know that this piece right here that goes straight up and down right here, maybe it comes about halfway and it goes straight up and down. Okay? So my vanishing point is here. So that gives me a nice solid line that I can use. And then I have this solid line that I can use. And from here, we've got a line there and a line there. And right here, it vanishes off to there. So there's my corner. And then I can just draw straight up, and where it meets there, it's going to come back and eventually vanish off to there. So basically I end up with all these vanishing lines, but I can come in and darken everything up around it, and it's real happy because you won't be able to see, well, you'll still be able to see them, you just don't really notice them quite as bad. And you basically have this isometric drawing, but everything starts to get a little narrower as it gets pulled to the back of the drawing. Okay, so there's a 1-point and a 2-point perspective, and again, we have a vanishing point, so VP is there, and a vanishing point there, which is right there. So those are 2 vanishing points. That's a 2-point, and then the 1-point, which was this one, they all disappear back to this single VP, which is right there. Okay, so that's 1-point and 2-point perspective sketches, and be prepared to ask any questions or take any notes that you need to, and we'll see you next time.